You found it. The house with the perfect charm, the right number of bedrooms, and a yard you can already see yourself enjoying. You're ready to sign. But what if that dream house is actually a nightmare in disguise? What if I told you that a recent survey found a staggering 73% of homeowners have major regrets about their home purchase? And one of the biggest reasons, the mistake that keeps them up at night, is their dream home turning into a financial black hole. Another survey found that the top regrets for new homeowners is buying a property that requires far too much maintenance, a discovery that often comes after it's a little too late. In fact, nearly half of all homeowners had to spend over $5,000 on unexpected repairs just last year alone. Those aren't just statistics, those are shattered dreams and emptied savings accounts, but they don't have to be yours. As a real estate professional who has seen it all, I'm going to pull back the curtain on the 7 critical red flags that scream money pit. These are the subtle, often overlooked warning signs that can save you from making a catastrophic financial mistake. Paying attention to these could be the difference between a dream home and a total disaster. The first red flag is sneaky because it plays on our love for things that look fresh and new. I call it the strategic cover up. Picture this: you walk into a 22-year-old house and everything looks dated: the kitchen, the bathrooms, the fixtures, except for one single room or one specific wall that has a fresh, immaculate coat of paint. Or maybe the entire house has old, worn flooring, but the basement has brand new plush carpeting. Most buyers think, oh, great, they started updating. But what I see is a giant flashing warning sign. A single freshly painted wall, especially in a basement or a bathroom, is often not a design choice. It's a desperate attempt to hide something. Sellers frequently use paint to conceal water stains from a leaky pipe, a cracked foundation, or the faint telltale signs of mold growth. And that new carpet in the basement, it might be covering up a floor that has flooded multiple times, hiding cracks, or concealing persistent moisture problems. I've walked into basements that have faint chemical smell of bleach or fresh paint, and it immediately puts me on high alert. The seller is counting on you to be distracted by the newness. Don't fall for it. Ask yourself, why was only this area touched? Look closely at the baseboards for swelling or discoloration. Check the corners of the ceiling, on the floor below for any faint watermarks. If the seller has patched and painted one spot, it's a sign they're treating the symptom, not the disease, and leaving you to pay for the cure. Before you even step foot in a property, the listing description itself can be packed with red flags, disguised as clever marketing. Real estate agents are masters of language, but some words are consistently used to put lipstick on a pig. You have to learn to read between the lines. Let's start with the classic: cozy. When you read cozy, you shouldn't think tiny. It's a charming word to describe a space that simply lacks square footage. Another one is unique. The legendary real estate mogul Barbara Cochran once said, unique is the worst word in real estate copy because it really means nobody wants it. thanks to a bizarre layout or strange design that will be a nightmare for resale. Then you have the big ones. Phrases like needs TLC, handyman special, or fixer-upper aren't invitations for a fun weekend DIY project. They are explicit warnings that the property needs significant and likely expensive renovations. No agent is going to write needs 50,000 in immediate repairs, so they use these friendlier terms instead. But the most alarming phrase of all is being sold as is. This is one of the biggest red flags in real estate. It tells you the seller knows there are problems, potentially major ones, and they have zero intention of fixing them or negotiating the cost of repairs. It's a clear message. What you see is what you get. And you, the buyer, are taking on all the risk. When you see these words, proceed with extreme caution and budget for a very thorough inspection. The as is even throws up a big red flag to your lender. The only time it's acceptable is if it's an estate property or the seller hadn't lived in the property. Those are kind of the exemptions, I would say. Okay, you drive into a neighborhood to see a house, and it's incredibly quiet. There's no traffic, no kids playing, and you think, wow, this is peaceful. But then you start to notice it, a for sale sign on the lawn next door, another one across the street, and another one 2 houses down. A bunch of homes for sale in one small area can be a massive red flag. It could signal a neighborhood in decline, maybe a major local employer just shut down, property taxes have shot up, or there's a new development project nearby, like a highway or industrial park that's driving residents away. A high number of listings often leads to homes sitting on the market for a long time. This might look like a great chance for a bargain, but you have to ask why no one else is buying. You need to investigate the health of the neighborhood, not just the house. Are the other homes for sale well maintained, or do they look neglected? Are there an unusual number of rentals or vacant homes? These can point to economic distress or rising foreclosure rates in the area. Buying the nicest house in a declining neighborhood is a terrible, terrible investment. You might get a deal on the house itself, but you could lose thousands in property value over the next few years. If there's one mortal enemy of a house, it's water. Water damage is destructive, expensive to fix, and notoriously easy to hide. Some signs are obvious, like brown stains on the ceiling or peeling paint under a window, but the most dangerous signs are the ones that are much more subtle. When you're touring a home, use your nose, seriously. Do you smell a musty, damp, or earthy odor, especially in the basement or attic? Sellers will often try and cover this up with air fresheners, candles, or by opening all the windows before you get there. Don't be fooled. That smell is a classic sign of mold or mildew, which might come from a hidden leak or bad ventilation. Professional mold removal can cost over $2,300 on average, and that's before you even fix the water problem that caused it. Outside, look at the ground around the foundation. Does the soil slope towards the house or away from it? This is called negative grading, and it's a recipe for disaster. It funnels every drop of rain directly against your foundation, where it will eventually find a way inside. Look for watermarks or a white chalky powder called effluence, I think, on the basement walls or floors. That's a sign of moisture seeping through the concrete. And don't forget to check under the sinks, around the base of toilets, and on the floors in laundry rooms. Even a small, slow leak can rot the subfloor and lead to thousands of dollars in repairs down the road. Okay, we're about halfway through. And if you're finding this information valuable and it's opening your eyes to what you really need to look for, do me a quick favor. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more advice that could save you a fortune potentially. It really helps the channel out and make sure you stay empowered on your home buying journey. Now, let's get back to the red flags. Cosmetic issues can be fixed, but problems with the home's structure are a different beast entirely. Structural and foundation issues are some of the most expensive problems you can inherit, with repair costs easily topping $5,000 and often climbing much, much higher. Sellers will often try to hide or downplay these problems. So how do you spot them? Start by looking for cracks, hairline cracks, especially vertical ones. Can be from normal settling, but large horizontal cracks or stair step cracks in the brick or foundation blocks are a huge warning sign of serious structural movement. Inside the house, the clues can be just as telling. Do you see cracks in the drywall, especially over doorways and windows? Are the floors noticeably sloped or uneven? Go around and try opening and closing interior doors and windows. If they stick, are hard to latch, or have uneven gaps around the frame, it could mean the whole house is shifting on its foundation. The seller might brush it off as the house is just settling or old house charm, but this can be a direct symptom of a failing foundation. Don't just take their word for it. These are signs that demand a professional structural engineer's opinion, and they're a clear signal you might be looking at a money pit in epic proportions. Okay, let's be real. Online listings live and die by their photos. If a listing has 25 beautiful high-res photos, but 15 of them are of the local park, the community pool, and the sunset, you should be suspicious. When a listing is heavy on community photos, but light on pictures of the actual house, it often means the house itself isn't in the greatest shape. Be on the lookout for other photo tricks. Are the curtains and blinds shut in every single photo? This is a common move to hide ugly views, damaged windows, or a lack of natural light. Do the rooms look oddly stretched or wide? Agents sometimes use wide-angle lenses to make cozy rooms appear much bigger than they are. I don't know why, because it works against them. The biggest photo-related red flag, though, is a total lack of interior pictures. If a listing only shows the outside of the home, you can almost guarantee the inside is rough. It could be cluttered, falling apart, or occupied by uncooperative tenants. In any case, the seller is actively hiding the reality of the property from you. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and a missing picture is a warning that speaks volumes. It's telling you that What's inside is a problem. The seller doesn't want you to see until they absolutely have to. The final red flag has nothing to do with the property itself, but everything to do with the person selling it. Pay close attention to the seller's behavior during the process. Are they being unusually difficult, evasive, or putting you under intense pressure? For instance, if you request a home inspection and the seller refuses to allow specific types, like a sewer scope or a mold test, you should ask yourself what they are so afraid of you finding. Another major red flag is a seller who creates a ton of unnecessary urgency. They might say, I have 3 other offers. You need to make your best offer by 5 p.m. today and waive the inspection contingency. While multiple offers are common, using them as a high pressure tactic to make you skip your due diligence is a classic sign of someone trying to pull a fast one. They're hoping that in the heat of the moment, you'll get emotional and skip the very steps designed to protect you. A transparent seller with nothing to hide will be accommodating and understand your need for thorough inspections. A seller who is rushing you or creating roadblocks is often doing it because they know there's a ticking time bomb in the walls, under the floor, or in the foundation, and they want the deal done before you hear it and realize it. Falling in love with the house is easy. Buying with your head instead of your heart is what saves you from financial ruin. From the strategic coat of paint hiding a water-stained secret to the deceptive listing that calls a shoebox cozy. These red flags are everywhere. Remember to look for signs of water damage, check the health of the whole neighborhood, scrutinize the listing photos, and never, ever let a difficult seller rush you into skipping your homework on the foundation and structure. Buying a home is the biggest financial decision most people will ever make. The difference between a happy home and a money pit often comes down to knowing what to look for. Recent studies have even shown that a huge number of buyers have regrets primarily due to unexpected maintenance and repair costs. You now have the knowledge to avoid becoming one of them. Be patient, be thorough, and be critical. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the biggest or most shocking red flag you've ever come across while looking at a property? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience could help save someone else from making a costly mistake.